From a boss who does not know how to handle his own employees to a boss who gets mad at his employees. So here's a list of the worst owners of all time on Undercover Boss. So hang on, cause you're gonna get a lot of tea. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on this. In today's video, you're gonna see the bosses you wish you never had. Alrighty folks, kick back, chill, and let's dive right into the juicy stuff. No time to waste. Starting with this employee who's really trying to do her job, but apparently, it's not enough to satisfy the boss who is undercover. First up, we have 1-800-Flowers. The largest florist and gift shop is an empire that is run by two brothers, and Chris McCann wants to prove to his brother James that he is indeed worthy of the business. So he decides to go undercover as an employee to see the problems and improve the business. Chris is in the store as Patrick is ready to work, but he does not really know how to be a florist designer. So Pauline is the main employee who is there to help him settle and learn design. They have a task today of shipping out 15 to 20 flower arrangements, but is Chris up for the task? Given the creative task, will Chris be able to live up to Pauline's expectations, or will Pauline lose her patience? Patrick is stuck with Pauline and slowly understands her side. Pauline does not like her job sometimes, and she tells him the reason why. Patrick is dumbfounded. Take a look at this.
Never really got like a true full answer.
I was dumbfounded when she said, no, there is no training. That's our job as a franchisor, is to provide training programs. They exist, they're available.
Yikes! There's the truth. Slowly, everything is unraveling, but will Patrick understand? So Patrick, aka Chris, seems pretty bummed out and annoyed.
These training programs, these design councils that she could participate in is very, very frustrating. We have good programs. I got to make sure people are aware of it.
He's saying they've got good programs, so why aren't the employees interested? Next up, he decides to visit Fannie Mae plant, which is a chocolate factory that they have owned for the longest time. Chris wants to experience working in this one from a different perspective, but will he be able to handle it? Don't get your hopes up. He couldn't do it. It is a task and he is barely managing. But guess what? The manager was nice enough to help him out, and they exceeded the target for the day. But when he asked her if she got any incentive on this, her answer disappointed her. And there's a twist in the story. On his 5th day as an undercover boss, Jim actually announced a surprise visit to the store to check on his little brother. Did Chris like it? Of course not. Here, take a look at this.
Hooked up with me later. Let me do my job, okay? Let me take care of this.
Now that we look at it, it seems more of a rivalry between the brothers. The elder one mocking the younger one and testing their limit. But shouldn't it be about running the business together and taking care of the employees? Guess not. It is the fact that they earn so much money from their business, and it is indeed true that people are not really happy with the name 1-800-Flowers. Chris McCann comes to the conclusion that employee participation and goal setting is the issue, and he also decides that incentives will increase employee happiness and productivity. All these statements do not make sense. Incentives will only make things worse. And on the other hand, Jim should really start handling people in a better way and give his brother more credit. So, did he make it in the worst owners of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Sadly, they could have come up with better ideas and strategies to make their employees' lives easier and practical. Moving on, we have an owner who realizes that employees working in his company are not really interested in his brand and makes their life a living hell. So, in Season 4, Episode 10, we are shown ONeal Clothing brand. Toby Boss, the boss at ONeal Clothing, went and changed his whole style from beach bum to corporate hotshot for a special mission as an undercover boss. He's calling himself a corporate kook now. It's a major switch up from his usual chill surfer vibe. Now he's all serious and looking like a straight-laced business exec. Headquartered in California, ONeal Clothing is one of the world's largest surf line and youth lifestyle brands with annual revenues exceeding $200 million. Impressive, isn't it? But some people are working in the brand just for the money, and they really don't like the product. It is their source of income. But hey, what's so wrong in that? After all, not everyone is rich like the CEO, right? Watch what Toby comes across when he goes undercover as Frederick. So here he is on his first day on work, and he already dislikes the casual attitude of his employees. But it is a surfing brand, so is it really necessary to be formal? Jesus is one of the managers he came across. The name is holy, but his manager is not. What an irony, right? Frederick's cover story is genius. He says he's here to train and win a store of his own. Jesus believes him, but does he agree with him? Well, no, he didn't seem the type, but what he says next will shock you. Apparently, Jesus does not like the brand at all. Here, take a look at this.
To say.
This style right here, it's dead. It's done. Over with. You would never see me wearing an ONeal shirt.
He hates the clothes. That's not a good fit for any retail store.
Yikes. Oh, Jesus just does not stop there. He said, you know you're gonna pick up a girl on your first date. You wanna look like a man, not like a 5-year-old. A big oops for him. He doesn't know he's talking to the CEO of that company. And cherry on top for pissing him off was that Jesus called him buddy, laughing out loud for God's sake. Laughing out loud for God's sake? This is hilarious. But apparently, he could not take that. Toby mentioned he cannot take it, when somebody casually refers to him like that. Ego hurt? Well, ouch. Think this was it? Nope. You guys are in for a treat, because this episode just gets juicier. So even though he is Jesus, his acts are not it. He told Toby that he is straight up lazy and smokes up weed. Big yikes. Next up, he goes to Compton, California to see the screen printing all the t-shirts. He hopes that he will meet a better employee that will represent the company better, but will he? After Jesus, or is everyone like that? To his disappointment again, this employee makes almost all the decisions on his own, as this employee is responsible for placement and printing, but he is not given clear instructions on it. So he places the printer wherever he wants to, and Toby is not happy. Well, technically it's his fault that he should have had a better insight, but he doesn't. He is down to his last day as an undercover boss, and he'll be working in the stockroom today. But it is like any other disappointment that he faced earlier. He realizes that he really needs to change the technology with which every data is entered. I mean, now that he's on the computer, he knows it. Well, back to our marijuana guy. Toby chose not to fire him, but did give him a lot of shit and decided to put him in a training program. Here, take a look at this.
Am I fired?
I'm not gonna fire you. So here is what I wanna do with you. I wanna fly you out to Irvine for an entire week. You're gonna work with me, you're gonna work with a lot of my executives.
Well, that's decent at least. We hope Toby learns from his mistakes and does better next time. Next up, we have Las Vegas and a casino. This COO really found it hard to manage an undercover job at his own casino. So in Season 2, Episode 18, we are shown MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Well, Scott Sabella, who's the big boss over at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, decided to go undercover and check out what was happening inside the second largest hotel in the world. And boy, did he have an experience. He came across a bunch of noisy gamblers who didn't waste any time calling him out on his lousy dealing skills. To blend in, he put on some funky wire-frame glasses and a dark wig that made him feel like a weird mashup between a Beatle and Rod Blagojevich. You know, that former governor of Illinois who went to jail. During his undercover mission, Sabella tried his hand at 4 different jobs in the casino. He dealt blackjack, spun the roulette wheel, manned the front desk, and hung out in the slot machine area. Talk about getting up close and personal with the workers. He spent a solid 6 hours in each role, interacting with customers and employees alike. Here, take a look at this.
It's okay.
We're gonna be here a while.
They're slippery, huh? Yeah, brother, you're gonna respect my job after today.
That takes some serious guts to go incognito like that, and it sounds like he got a pretty comprehensive look at how things are really running at his hotel. He couldn't help but blurt out things like, well, we're gonna change that, when he saw how certain company policies weren't working out in practice. But the craziest thing is that nobody caught on to his true identity. Talk about luck. But man was struggling to a point where one employee told him that he might get fired.
Get you fired in a heartbeat.
No more bets?
Now, the reason Sabella even agreed to go undercover in the first place is because he had only been in his role as president and COO for 5 months. He had recently moved over from another MGM Resorts International property, the Mirage, and wanted to get a better understanding of how things worked at the MGM Grand. He was also excited about the opportunity to see how employees behaved when they didn't think they were being watched by a big shot executive, and to show them that he cared about their thoughts and opinions. Oh, here's a juicy tidbit for you. The loyalty card program at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas has undergone a bit of a makeover. Back when Scott Sabella was doing his undercover thing, employees were encouraged to sell 10 loyalty cards a day. But there was no extra incentive for selling any more than that. Like, what? The whole thing ended up being a pretty blatant advertisement for the hotel, and they even threw in some additional plugs throughout the week. So the question is, did Sabella actually care about making a positive impact at the hotel? Or was it all just a publicity stunt? I mean, sure, he did give some employees some gifts that the company can write off on their taxes, but is that really enough to make a meaningful difference? It's hard to say what the exact dollar value of all this is, but I'm guessing it's pretty darn high. And while it might make MGM Resorts International look good on their quarterly earnings report, it's unclear how much of an impact it will actually have on the MGM Grand's business and bookings. But one thing's for sure, Sabella definitely knows how to drum up some publicity for his hotel. Moving on, we have a CEO who fired an employee for not wearing a bikini? Sadly, it's true, and how messed up it is. In Season 6, Episode 3, we were shown Bikini Sports Bar and Grill. The CEO of Bikini Sports Bar and Grill, which, by the way, calls itself America's first restaurant on its website, was the star of the show. Let's just say things didn't go well. The restaurant was pretty sexist and not a great place for women to work. It was kind of a mess, if you know what I mean. Doug Guller teamed up with Jessica, a bartender at the restaurant. However, the first thing he noticed was that Jessica was wearing a t-shirt instead of the usual bikini top that was part of the dress code. This was a bit of a problem for Guller, especially since the restaurant's name is Bikini Sports Bar and Grill, not Shirt Sports Bar and Grill. He even had a customer at the bar ask Jessica why she wasn't wearing a bikini. Here, take Take a look at this.
You're wearing a shirt, not a bikini.
Because I chose to wear.
When Guller confronted Jessica about her attire, she explained that she was supposed to wear a bikini, but decided against it that day because they were being filmed for TV. Guller was not happy about it at all, and in an interview, he expressed his anger using some expletives. He basically felt if the restaurant was called Bikinis, then the employees should be wearing bikinis as part of their work uniform. To give Jessica some credit, there were other things that Doug Guller wasn't too happy about during the episode. For one thing, he thought she didn't do a great job of cutting off a customer at the bar who had clearly had too much to drink. But that's not all. During the show, Jessica was pretty upfront about the fact that she didn't plan to stay at Bikinis for very long. She even said things like this job definitely won't be permanent, and that she was actively looking for work elsewhere. In fact, she made it clear that the only reason she was working at Bikinis was to pay the bills. While Guller may have been annoyed about her not wearing a bikini top, he was also frustrated with her attitude toward the job and her work performance. When Doug Guller worked with a server named Grace at the Bikinis restaurant in Arlington, he was pretty impressed with her enthusiasm for the job. Grace, who is 23 years old, really loves working at Bikinis, and she was pretty vocal about it during her time on the show. She said things like, "I love that the only expectation of me is being friendly and being pretty, because I can do those things every day." She also loved the work uniform, which was a bikini, but told Guller that she wished she had a bigger chest. Here, take a look at this.
And I love the only expectation of me is being friendly and being pretty because I can do those things every day.
At the end of the episode, Guller made Grace an offer. If she could be a rock star employee for the next 6 months, he would help her with a particular problem she mentioned earlier. He even said he would pay for breast enhancement surgery if that's what she wanted. In addition, he also offered the opportunity to lead a new marketing effort for the company, which would come with its own paycheck. That is pretty problematic, and one of the worst qualities a boss could have. Hope he improves. That's all we have to say. With that, sadly, we've come to the end of the video. Which boss did you find to be the worst? Let us know in the comments down below. If you liked our video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys.